Let's talk about the Baseball Classic. Our baseball savant, our producer-director, Joe Bratt, says it was a perfect tournament.
It was a perfect tournament. Great start to the season. It won't be back, I think, until 2026. But let me just tell you this. I've never been a part of a start of a season where I watched more of the World Baseball Classic than I did Mets preseason games, Yankees preseason, any of the spring training games. It was so electric. And I'll get into this a little bit later on. I know a lot of people like baseball the way it was and the way it was seen and the way you maybe grew up on it. But the world of baseball, the way it's consumed, the way it's played, everything about it shows that there is celebration and there's fun and there's great. Like that championship game between the U.S. and Japan. Before that, Japan coming back to win that game against West. I mean, it's just unbelievable the way they were able to get to the semifinals and the finals. And the viewing streams, oh my God, they were through the roof. The stadium in Miami packed to the rafters. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Look, to his point, and I think you touched on something very important, being able to watch how other cultures are embracing baseball, right? Because here in America, baseball is a stuffed shirt, you do it this way, unwritten rules kind of game, whereas you got to see other cultures having a grand old time with the game that we invented, and that's what baseball needs to become, right? It was almost like I was watching this tournament forgetting that you were allowed to get excited about things other than home runs that were going to change the face of a playoff game. You know what I mean? Like, that being said, with the amount of injuries that showed up to major players, even with all the success, are these MLB owners going to allow it to happen? Because that's what killed international tournaments for the NHL.
Take it from a Mets fan who lost Diaz during this World Baseball Classic, and trust me, it is devastating for the whole year, just on the beginning of his contract, too. So we'll be paying that out for the next 4 years. But it did happen. So Altuve, too, I think he hurt his thumb. I get it. It was a loss for my team, and it's a loss going forward. Then again, many teams survive without closers. I would have liked to have ours, but that's just the way it is. It was exciting. It was fun. And you know what? The U.S. team, to your point, Pat, were there a lot of stuffy players or stuffy old-timers that kind of like, I don't like the way the game is played? They got into it, too.
You're right.
They celebrated and had a lot of fun,
for Mookie
too.
Betts to suggest having won 2 World Series with 2 different teams, that this is the most fun he's ever had playing baseball, that says all you got to know.
And it makes you want to think to yourself, okay, I get it. Let's not run this back every 2 years, every 3 years, or every 5 years. Let's do it again next year. No. Let's grow some players. Let's find out more. Shohei did exactly what he was supposed to do. Showed up in the big moment. Struck out Trout at the end. So it works, and it makes you starve for 2016.
To the cultural point, it's amazing. Are we as Americans that much less fun than the rest of the world?
Oh, no.
Where it's like easy for everyone else to jump up and down and get excited, and we somehow don't embrace that.
Oh, no. If you watch an NFL game or an NBA game, you see Americans jumping up and down. It's American baseball fans that are stuck in the mud, stuffed shirt. Maybe arrogant is the word, that I understand this. It's a smart man's game and you don't. This is an intellectual situation we're in. We're not here to blow a horn.
But doesn't that just blast that? I mean, when you say, we get it, you don't, and Japan beats us.
Agreed. No, and I think, but I mean, it's moments like that where you stand back as an American and go, wait a minute here. And I think the same thing happened with basketball. Yeah. After the dream teams were done and you started seeing the rest of, NBA basketball changed after other countries started catching up. If you, again, look how guys conducted themselves on the court in the late 80s or the early 90s. What would have gotten you punched in the face is now celebrated in modern basketball, and that's a good thing.
Oh, by the way, and that game was a 3-2 game, a classic baseball game with everybody's interest in it, pitching the difference in the end.
Will this change the way we perceive the game of baseball?
I think it should, and that's okay. I mean, you have another sort of 3 years to start thinking about exactly how you want to do it. Players now want to be a part of it, baseball players, so maybe you get a big arm in 2016 that you didn't get this year, or 2026 that you didn't get this year.
Well, heck, Diaz will sign his next contract and then blow his knee out celebrating again for whoever he re-signs with.
This was going so well.
And the thing is, where people don't, they say, these things are happening in the World Baseball Classic. Well, some of them are going to happen anyway.
Absolutely. Sometimes baseball has the weirdest injuries by far. So let's not even get into who got injured for what in baseball, because they always find a way to trip over their dog.